I'm Kate. I am an EVP of our global talent acquisition team at GQR, and I head up our experienced hire team. So essentially, what me and my team do is help grow the business from the perspective of anybody with recruitment experience. So we're split across our global divisions, and my team support the growth of each of our divisions, and we help the company grow, which is very exciting. So I think very early on in my career, when I was an agency recruiter, I used to try and get around, TA or HR and go directly to hiring managers. So I once spec'd in a candidate to the CEO of a very famous FMCG company, and his assistant and HR ended up emailing me back and saying, never email Chris directly again, blah, 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 which being, early on in my career, I was very embarrassed and I felt that I sort of overstepped, but ultimately it led to the door being opened and the conversation starting. So it was embarrassing, but worth it, I think. There have been lots over the years. I think the reasons that people give for not being able to attend interviews or meetings at a certain time have been quite amusing. Some people say, it's my dog's birthday, or, this has happened. We had a guy recently who said that he couldn't progress in the process because he was going to win a Rolex with his current company, and I don't think that ever worked out, so that was quite funny. Candidates just use funny excuses for not being able to do things that give us a chuckle internally. But yeah, nothing too crazy. For me, it all comes back to the people that I get to work with every day. I am very fortunate that I have incredible and inspiring individuals, both in my team, my wider collaborators, and sort of exec leadership above me that I get to speak to and work with every day. We've really built a platform of exceptionalism here, and naturally, when you hire great people, it makes you want to be better. And so everybody's on the same journey here. Everybody is invested in the company for the same reasons. And we work hard, achieve great things, and have a lot of fun whilst doing it, which I think is really important. And some of my greatest friends and my fondest memories are people that I've met through GQR. So yeah, the people are incredible. Something else. Yeah, so I think for me, recruitment is a fast-moving, people-focused industry. And you can really see the results and efforts of your work pretty quickly. And so, at the right company, like a GQR for me, you can progress and develop in your career much quicker than you could at another company. And so when you have a platform that is meritocratic, you really do get out what you put in. And so I personally love being able to carve out a path for my career, set goals, achieve them, get promotions, more responsibility, increased earnings, etc. And then allowing other people to do that as well. It's something that not every industry, not every company offers, and we're very lucky that we do have that here. I say to people all the time, what I've achieved in my 4 years at GQR would have taken me 10 years somewhere else. And so very grateful for that, for sure. So I think there's a few. When you're working with people, naturally, a lot of challenges come up, and you can't influence everybody. I think that the biggest bugbear for me is going to be candidates that ghost. I think it's something that we've seen increase a lot in the last couple of years, particularly as a lot of interviews are remote or over Zoom. It's a lot easier to just not turn up or not say anything. So I think ghosting is incredibly unprofessional, and a definite bugbear of mine, and I'm sure I speak for a lot of other people as well. So I think for me, it was a deliberate move. And when I was an agency recruiter, I got the most rewards and I enjoyed the work when I was partnering with the internal teams at some of my clients. So there were a few key clients that I worked with year in, year out, and I was very much an extension of their team. And so I was able to, get involved in their meetings around who they're hiring, where they're hiring, and why. Obviously didn't have any directive to give, but I at least sort of heard what they were looking to achieve in terms of growth. And then I was, a trusted partner to deliver on that for a number of different companies. And that for me was really rewarding, to kind of be involved in the people aspect of growing a business, to hire people, to see them grow and flourish in their careers, and for those people to then become my future hiring managers and grow their own teams. So that was kind of a key focus for me when I was looking to move to the US and the type of company that I wanted to work for. I wanted to play a part in the company's strategic growth from a people standpoint. And so I was able to kind of do that at GQR. And, it has changed over the years. I think TA historically has been, banded together with HR as a function, and I think it should be quite separate. And so something that we've done over the years at GQR is make a real distinction that TA is a sales function and should be treated as such. So if you look at my team, everybody has come from a recruitment agency, and that's quite a deliberate piece of their background. But I also think that TA has naturally had to evolve as the market has changed. In a candidate-driven environment, we have to go out and headhunt the best people to join us. And in doing so, we partner with stakeholders and hiring managers internally, and we become specialized in their markets. So it's about adding value to both the candidate as well as the business, and being seen as an expert in what you do. And I think that has led to the evolution of TA and being seen more as a strategic partner versus a kind of support function. So I think that candidates have always held the power, they just didn't realize it. So I think a lot of individuals, in the workforce who are considering, looking for another job or open to opportunities, are more aware of the power that they have, and are using it to their advantage. So when companies are hiring, candidates become the product that is in demand and need to be treated as finite, I would say. And when companies, look at the candidate pool as, infinite and there's always going to be somebody else, then you don't focus on actually the value of the individual, you look at it as a collective. And so I think candidates nowadays are much more aware of that, aware of what they bring to a company, their individual value, and rightly so. It should be a candidate-driven market. There is a bit of a difference because for us, our internal stakeholders are recruiters themselves. And so, their primary job is not to sort of, interview and hire candidates. And so I think with that comes a higher level of expectation. You're a recruiter, they're a recruiter, they expect the best from you internally. But I think that also comes with a lot of empathy and understanding. I can recall when I was an agency recruiter, often, hiring managers and stakeholders would just say, find me more candidates. We're looking for this in this price range. It must exist. Whereas I think when you're working with stakeholders that are recruiters, they're a bit more understanding of how the market can change, how candidates' needs and demands can change. And they're a lot more open, I would say, to kind of feedback and changing direction, because they understand what it's like to be a recruiter in the industry. So I think first and foremost, TA needs to be seen as I said earlier, not a supporting function. So it kind of comes down to how the business is structured and how that function is valued and viewed. That is something that's difficult to change on your own, and it takes time. But I think when it comes to stakeholder expectations, communication is key. And you should never just be having a conversation with your hiring manager when something good or something bad has happened. It should be a continuous conversation, a continuous dialogue, and you're acting as team players. You're both trying to achieve the same goal, the same result, and should be working towards it together. So if you know what your stakeholders are looking for, can provide that in a timely fashion, or provide updates in a timely fashion, I think that will improve, your branding as a TA, and in turn improve the communication, the relationship that you have. It is, important as well to not just provide, as I said, good and bad updates, but intel on the market, candidate feedback. Give them some advice, give them some tips. Really show yourself as the expert of what you do. And I think that will go a long way with building a relationship that's based on honesty and transparency, and with that comes clear expectations. I think in the UK, recruitment has existed as an industry for a lot longer than it has in the US. So the market is incredibly saturated. And that means that there is less differentiation between companies, and less of a reason for people to leave one and join another. I think the US, it is a newer function, a newer industry that is worth several $1 billion, and I think it is treated a little better in the US, if I'm being honest, and as more of a partner, more of a necessity, versus a last resort, as it can often be seen in the UK. But I do think that a lot of great recruiters come from the UK. You get taught 360 recruitment often, and there's a lot of determination and grit that you have to be successful in the UK markets. So if you bring that mindset into the US environment, you're going to be successful. So I think there is definitely a difference. Even just the terminology that's used is different. But if you are, an ambitious recruiter, and you've got that drive, that determination, that grit, and you want to make a move to the US, you will be very successful if you continue with that mindset, for sure. Yeah, I'm so glad that as an industry, it's something that's been taken a lot more seriously, because it's incredibly important to refocus on your people first and foremost. So it's only benefited a TA function, but something that we did a couple of years ago was build out an employee experiences function that has really transformed our branding and how our employees are recognized and rewarded. So I think companies have always had a clear idea of who they are and what they offered, but it's become a lot more tangible now. And there's a lot more focus on, this is what I can offer you as a candidate. What can you offer me as an employer? And what if I join your business that I have on offer as an environment? A few things that we've done that I think foster this supportive network and a place where you can enhance personal and career development in the workplace by being around like-minded individuals or individuals with a similar background. So we have a Pride network, we have a Brave group for veterans and veterans' families and friends. We have a Women at GQR group and a paid volunteer time off group. And we're actually looking for a few volunteers from within the business to launch other employee resource groups as well. So that kind of coupled with clear rewards and recognition as a business, I think has really led us to have a clearer sense of our brand identity and who it is to be part of GQR. But the great thing is that it's always evolving, as it should be. And it's employee-led, and these are initiatives that we drive within ourselves. And it's been great to see over the last couple of years. And I think we're only just getting started, honestly. There's a lot of really cool things in the pipeline that should be launching over the next few quarters for us. And it's something that all companies should be doing, listening to what your employees want, what your people want, and then acting on it and providing that. So I think over the last couple of years, flexibility and remote work has been a top of the list for a lot of people. But then on the flip side, in a sort of post-pandemic world, a lot of people are looking for in-office opportunities as well. So it is a bit polarizing in that sense. One thing that I have noticed, particularly with very successful recruiters, is that they're looking for a clear direction and a roadmap to success. I don't think that companies can say anymore, make this many dials and bill X amount to be successful. I think recruiters are really looking for a company to provide that clear path for growth and opportunity, and that sort of platform where a recruiter can feel that is achievable. If someone else has done that, I can get there myself. It's not just about sitting at a desk and making calls. It's about really having a strategy behind the individual's career and how that then plays a part in the overall growth of a business. So I think it's something that is talked about a lot more now, and rightly so. I think diverse hiring has to be organic. I think when companies have, the checkbox exercise to have X amount of people from this background or this gender in the company, it takes away from the reason why you're doing it in the first place. And so something that, I try to do and we try to do is foster an environment of inclusivity and belonging. So if individuals internally or externally can see and hear people of a similar background, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation to themselves being supported, advocated for, rewarded and recognized, then you're naturally going to feel a sense of belonging with that company. So it's all about representation and having a diverse group of people at any function, any part of the business. But how do you get to that point has to be organic. And it's important to hire the right person for the job, and ensure that you're allowing for an inclusive recruitment and hiring process, which obviously starts with talent acquisition. So there have been things that we've done, even in the last couple of years around changing the wording of job descriptions and adverts to be more gender neutral. As historically, a lot of job descriptions have been more male based with the word choice. And I think shining a light on who we are, what we believe in, and then having the people and the stories to really back that up is incredibly important. You know, beyond just the diversity of the people comes diversity of thought. And every culture and nationality and everyone has a different way of viewing the world, different opinions, different ways of doing things. And so if you can foster an environment where people feel safe and secure and supported to voice their opinions, whether it's, you know, different to the next person or not, then naturally you start to build more of a diverse environment and platform that can then lead to, you know, diverse hiring. But it's something that, you know, we track, and, you know, our DEI representation has definitely changed over the years. We are now a company of 52% of people who identify as female and 48% of people who identify as male. 70% white, 30% people of color, and at our sort of senior leadership level, EVP plus, 60% of those people identify as male and 40% as female, which has shifted the needle a lot in the last few years, and great to see. But there's, you know, a lot of work to be done, and it is something that's constantly evolving. But I think it's important to have a platform that, as I said, fosters belonging and inclusivity, and then after that, the diversity will come naturally and organically, for sure. For us, I think our biggest sell, it definitely depends who you ask. So when we look at our kind of EVPs, there's a few things that we focus on: people, environment, growth, opportunity, and impact. For me, I mentioned this before, but the people are the most compelling sell for me. And mainly because in my function, I work with people at GQR all day, every day. And, you know, I'm constantly inspired and encouraged to be the best version of myself because of the people that I'm surrounded by. But I think for recruiters who are, you know, looking to join our sales function, environment and opportunity are sort of two great reasons why they join. The way that our business operates is really unlike that of our peers, because of the way that we're set up, our business model, and therefore the opportunity and the environment that kind of comes with that to lead you to be successful. But it does take a lot of hard work and perseverance. Not everybody is going to be successful on our platform. And that's kind of why we lead with this idea of exceptionalism and excellence, and that really, if you are the best of the best, this is the right kind of platform for you, and you will succeed and achieve things that you've never done before. But it does take, a lot of hard work to be successful, but the rewards are, you know, infinite and definitely worth it for me. I think you need to be flexible, patient, and determined. One of, you know, the hardest jobs is recruiting other recruiters. So you need to have high levels of IQ and EQ, the ability to engage and influence other recruiters. I typically find those that do well are competitive yet collaborative, and have a clear idea of their own motivations for success, because there will be a lot of tough times. So if you have that grit and that determination to persevere, you'll be successful, but you've got to be patient and, you know, let things happen, and the success will come if you trust the process. So I think there's going to be a shift away from products as a reward, like the Rolex situation, and kind of receiving best recruiter of the year award. I think the shift is going to be much more into experiences and kind of value that's placed on the individual versus receiving a Rolex or a bonus or whatever it is. So I think there will be a shift in how employees are rewarded, recognized, and valued. And that will come from within. I think that there will be a shift in what employees place value in terms of what they need from their employer. And we've seen changes in it already, which is really exciting. But I do think there'll be a shift in the next kind of few years for sure.